Hello, good day, everyone. Welcome. Um, my name is Casper, and welcome in this live stream. And today, I just want to have a chat. Um, just like last week. Last week, I had some issues with live stream and some lagging. So today, this week I tried to fix them and just let's try again. But today, I want to have also a chat about my collection. So some weeks ago, I did a live stream and I showed the first part, or I just showed, I picked one box and showed some of my watches and have a chat about them. And so, yes, today I want to do another box and I want to have just a chat about my collection. Hello, Tommy, big time. Welcome. How are you, my man? Before I start, today, just like last time, today I want to do another video about some of my vintage watches. So some of them that you will see are very old. I think the oldest one I will show today is around 1920s. So that's very old. That is 100 years old. So if you expect some big bold watches today, this is not about those big bold watches. I got some of them, but I will do a review and do a video or maybe a live stream of them in another time. I did some videos already on some of the bigger watches I got. As example, the Sub Aquanoma 4. I did a video and recently, I think last month, I did a video on that one. But I've still some other watches that are planning that I planned to do. As example, my Venom. My Venom Reserve with ETA movement inside, so with the ETA automatic chronograph movement. So also a very gorgeous watch. Hello, Unix Master, how are you? Oh, Tommy, you had to work? Yes. So, do you work at home right now, or do you have to go outside for your work? I'm not sure, because of the corona. A lot of people here in my country, in the Netherlands, a lot of people has to do the work at home. Only if you have a job that you have to do outside, then in that case they allow you to do your work if nothing else is possible. Yes, but today I'm wearing this chronograph. This one is from the 70s. Originally, this racing chronograph was produced by Waltham. Waltham is I think it's in the past they were a very popular brand in America. A lot of watches they produce in America, so USA made. So Waltham was in the past a USA-based watch manufacturer, but in the 70s, Invicta bought some brands as example, and one of them was Waltham. So some models that Waltham made, they turned into an Invicta. And as a sample, this one I'm wearing today is was an Waltham watch, but they turned it into an Invicta, and they printed an Invicta on the dial. And in the case, when you open the case back, you will see on the movement Invicta engraved. But you can find exactly the same model with a Waltham logo on the dial and Waltham on the movement. So a little bit history about the one I'm wearing today. The case size is just normal. It's if I'm right, 40 millimeters. So it's it's a normal man size. If you like to wear bigger watches. This may be too small, but I think, and I say in most time in also in live streams and videos, 40 millimeters is for most men is the I think is the perfect size, 40 millimeters. But some people like bigger, some people like smaller. I know guys who hate, they think even that 40 millimeters is too big, and they only like 36 or 37 millimeters. And when you're going up to 40 or 41 or 42, they are complaining that it is too big. But people always complain. I'm an essential worker. Okay. Yes, my wife is also. She's working for the pharmacy in a hospital. So my wife also has to do the work outside. So now here in Holland we have a lot of snow. It is really white outside, and it's for her difficult to go to the work. So I think tomorrow she has to do some work at home. She can do some calling to for some patients, and so I think she will do something like that. But she also has an essential job. Okay, fresh produce business. So I think if I'm a produce, so for supermarkets. Um, okay. So yes, I had a chat about this one I'm wearing today. Now I will go to the collection. I have another camera, and I will just pick up this one. So I will just go. I think I will go like this, but let me know in the comments what you like. So I picked this one. Let me see if I can get this one also on screen. Off. Yes. Sprouts Farmers Market. Okay. So it's is that a small I'm not I'm from Europe, so I don't know what kind of market that is. Sprouts. Oh yes, I know sprouts. These are those small vegetables, right? Green. So I picked up this one. Let me see if it will get So a lot of people it will also go to when it sees my face, it will go straight to my face. So I have to keep behind the watch. So a lot of people, when I show them this watch, it's very small. They are very impressed of the dial. You can see it has some printing on the dial. Let me see if I can get it another with a sort of pattern. I'm not sure what kind of material it is, but it is very clean. And also the applied indices in golden letters. I think it's in golden Arabic letters. I think it's really nice. It's a really, really nice dial. Only it's a shame that it is 34 millimeters. So it's really, really tiny. If I do this one on my wrist, it's really, really small. So it doesn't get enough love when about that. Because it's really, you can see it. It is really small. You can see it. It's my when I only wear this one when I have like an formal wear. When I wear like a jacket and just under the cuff, and it's really, really small. But I really like the dial on this one. Really like the applied indices and the dolphin hands. So you can see the pointy hands of the dial of the minutes and the hours. So they call them dolphin hands. So you have you have different kind of hands, and this kind of style they call dolphin. And but I really like the crisp. It's the dial is really crisp, especially if you consider that this watch is from the 50s. It is a really really old watch. It is almost 70 years old. Yeah, I'm Unix master. I know it is too small for my wrist. Yes, I know. But I got some bigger wrists. I think most Invicta fans or collectors wear those bigger watches because they are also bigger. I'm a big guy, you know. I have also a big wrist. Um, but I can also appreciate some watches that are small. I don't wear this one that often because it's just too small. Just as all my vintage pieces that are too small, I don't wear them too much. I think only when the vintage piece is maybe 37, 38 millimeters, it will get more wrist time. And when it's 40 or even there are vintage Invictas that are 42 millimeters and even 43. I have one. Um, but those get more wrist time. So also this one, this 40 millimeters, it gets more wrist time. So I didn't look up all the movements of the watches in my box this time. But I know that this one has an Velsa 346 movement. I did look up this one. A Velsa 465. So that's an for that time for the 50s. That is an I you can consider it as an a very good movement. It is it's not like a cheap movement for that time. So they put an very nice movement in this watch. Let me see. No, this is a big company in the USA. It's a healthy living based store. I work at a distribution center in Arizona. Yes, here in the Netherlands, and I think also in the rest of Europe, all those there are a lot of not only you're not only have a crucial job when you're working for an hospital, but also when you're working for a supermarket, when you're working for a distribution center, because if those things will stop, people cannot buy food and people cannot um, you will get a lot of problems. Where's the vintage Chrono with the silver dial? I don't see him in your box. I picked another box, Unix Master. Today I'm I do a second part of my collection, so I will show other watches. Um, but also that one, I think the one you're mentioning, I traded with a guy. So most time I'm not into selling, but this guy I know, and I traded one of my watches with him for another one that I really want. So vintage timepiece for another one. So yeah. Um, which one I will pick up right now? Maybe I will just go cross and just pick something up. So this one is also very interesting. Maybe if I do it like this. So this one is made out of silver, and I have to. So this one is made out of silver. It is my oldest wristwatch. I think it is around 1920, 1930, so almost 100 years old. And yes, the hands, the loom on the hands and on the markers of the hours are radian. So this watch is, but it's now the radiation is now very low. Um, yes, let me go bigger. I know there are a lot of people that are complaining about old watches and radiation. So the opinions are just the some guys saying that's really bad and really bad, and some other guys are saying yes, it is. It doesn't matter. And also, research, they just are not sure if it's bad or not. So because some are saying yes and some are saying no. But what they know is when it's about old watches and radiation, you have to keep your watches also in a room that is not closed. So you have sometimes you have to ventilate, open the your window, so you get fresh air. Because those radiation can get you can get some radiation gas, and that gas is not very healthy. Um, but about this one is it's even smaller than the other one I showed. This one is 32 millimeters. It's a man watch. If you consider, most watches before the 50s are just small, 34, 32, 33, 36 millimeters. But you don't see very often bigger than 30, 35, 30. Yeah, I think 35 millimeters. You don't see that very often, bigger than that size. So very small. This one is made out of silver. And what is interesting about this one is produced in a time that Invicta produced. I think they produced some very interesting movements. You can find some patents about from with movements they produce their own. So in-house movements and also some modified movements. So you can find some patents in from that time with Invicta's his own movements. And also this watch, so far I know, is a watch with an in-house Invicta movement. So it's not the best movement you can they ever produced. Let me see if I can get it open. But it's interesting that Invicta produced even their own movements. And I'm out. I'm back. I'm back. Okay. I'm back, but was something with the connection, I think. Hey guys, if you I think my connection I had some bad connection. So if there's a problem, can you let me know in the chat? I cannot open it right now. I tried to open it. Um, I think I told everything about this one. So it's what is the most interesting about this one? It has a movement that you don't see very often because it is produced by Invicta, and I think because of that it's a little bit rare. And I think the movement looks very nice. It has Swiss stripes. It is really crisp. But let me see if I have a tool to open it. Let me see if I can get it open with this one. Ah, open. So I will go to another and I will show it. I hope I can get it. So you can see it's an old movement, but I think it looks very pretty. So let me go it upside down. If you look very clear, you can see here on this bridge, Invicta watch FY factory. So this one is produced by Invictawatch factory. My cat is scratching on the door, so I have to open it for her, or for him. So it's an old movement, so it has scratches. It is not the most pretty, it's not the most beautiful watch there is, but I think it's a very interesting one. So let me close this one. So, okay. It's quiet. So, what do you think about that Invicta produced in the past their own movements and their own watches? So they were nowadays the Invicta. If in the past Invicta also bought a lot of movements from other manufacturers. I gave in on other streams and videos examples as they like nowadays they bought movements from ETA. So in the past they also bought movements from Lenderon, Valju, AS. So, but they also produced their own movements. Not a lot, but they did produce some of them. They produced some repeater movements, and those are very high complicated movements. So if you're looking for a repeater, you can pay easily $1,000 or $2,000 or more. It's also depending if most time when it's a repeater, the watch is also made out of gold, and yeah, so they can, when it's about an Invicta with a repeater, most time they are in golden pocket watches, and they can easily cost $2,000, and then you have the cheapest one, and they can go up to $7,000 because they are very high complicated movements with sometimes with moon phase, with chronograph, with day and date and months, and even the repeater and the chronograph, and together you have in an 18 karat golden case, and sometimes they even decorated the dial, so you have an an expensive watch. Let me see which one I will pick. I love the in-house movements. Yes, Invicta don't produce anymore in-house, So the last time Invicta did something very interesting with movements is with the Sapphire Ghost. I think a lot of Invicta holics know the Invicta Sapphire Ghost. So that's the one with that is on all sides open with sapphire crystal. Only they produced between 2005 and 2008 with a modified ETA movement. So they modified themselves this movement, and they painted that movement. And I think that they changed also because the movement they used was the 28-24 ETA movement. And normally that movement has a date complication, but they modified it so they removed that complication, they skeletonized the movement, and they painted the movement and in different colors. If I'm right, in blue, in black, black grayish, maybe another colors, but I'm not sure. But they modified it so that I got one in my collection, and I think that's very interesting. I don't know the movement of this one, and I don't know exactly the age of this one because I don't know the movement. I never looked it up, but I think it's also from the 50s. It's a very basic dress watch, a watch you can wear just for daily wear, with a cram dial and a small second. And I think then the indices are very nice with a bronze color, and I like the how the Arabic numerals look, the fonts. I really like it, the font of it. So the 9 and the 12, and on the 3 you have a date window. So it's a very basic. I think this is an example of a watch that they did produce, like nowadays, very cheap watches also. So very affordable watches. So this is an example of a very affordable Swiss made watch. It has no stainless steel case. It is chromed. So, but it looks very nice, and in that time, you could wear it just daily. Nowadays, I think it's a little bit too dressy. Yeah. Recently, about in-house movements. Recently, I found also on an advertisement the address of the old factory, and when you look up on Google, you will find the factory. It is still there, or at least the building is still there. So if you compare the building on the pictures of the advertisements, sometimes you can find pictures of it drawn. It is it's the same building as on Google Maps, and they produced it in Le Chaux de Fonds. So this one, I think this one is really, the next one is really, I think it's a really nice dial. Today I'm showing you guys just some cheaper Invicta, some affordable Invictas, some watches that Invicta produced in the past. They were not expensive. A lot of people just could buy them for in that time maybe for 50-60 euros, Swiss made, just a good movement. The design is just fine. Here also an example. I'm not sure what kind of material is the dial, but I really like it. You can see it is a kind of maybe linen. I'm not sure. And I like the small second on this one. It's gold plated, but it's going off because I think this one is also from the 50s, maybe the 60s. So this one is 36 millimeters, if I'm right. Yeah, 36 millimeters. I still have to look for a nice strap for this one. So I got this really cheap strap when I bought this watch. But I still have to look for another one. Let me see. I think this one is also very nice. This is a diver from the 70s. If I'm right, 200 meters water resistant. With a small diving bezel, you can see it can rotate. This one doesn't get enough love. I don't know why I don't wear this one that often. Because it's just working fine. So this one is also 14 millimeters. I think it's a very neat watch. So it looks very small, as just as the racing chronograph I wear. It looks very small my wrist. Why? Because it has no lugs, or at least the lugs are very small. So what you have with watches that hasn't any lugs, it looks smaller than it is. Than it is. So, but this one is it is 40 millimeters, but it looks smaller than it is because of the lugs. I think I have to wear this one more often. Looks very nice. So what do you think, guys? What do you think about this one? So on the case back you have the you don't have anything. So this one is also a diver, and if I'm right, it is you can it is water resistant 1 or 200 meters. In the 70s, when a lot of Invictas from the 70s have have that fish logo on the back, on the case back. So that will indicate that it has an that you can dive with it, or at least it is water resistant. So when you're looking on the internet and you find an Invicta with that fish on the case back, you can be sure that it's from the 70s, and most time you can be sure that it has at least some water resistance. So problems with vintage is always it's always a problem that that is not water resistant anymore. So maybe you have to give it a service, and they have to make it water resistant again. So I still have some dress watches left. So this was one of my first vintage, not my first, but one of my first. I think it was maybe my second one. It's very small, just like the other ones, but this one is 33 millimeters, so it is very small. I like the how do you call this? On the dial you have a ring that in black, so with loom dots. I think it's not gilt dial, but I really like that on this dial. So this one is also very basic. I have it. It's a full set. So I have this one with the box, with the papers. This one is produced for. This one is sold in Persia, so that is in Iran. So I have a receipt that is written in Persian, and a box with Persian Invicta written in Persian, and also Invicta just in English. But this one is also sold in the 50s. This one is also sold in the 50s, and also sold in the 50s. And for if it was money in this time, 50 euros or $50. So really cheap, and it's Swiss made, gold plated, with an automatic movement. So when I received it, I have sent it to somebody to repair because it didn't keep the time, and there was a small issue with the movement. It was really cheap to repair it, and someone made a custom made strap for this one. If I'm right, it's ostrich. It's not zooming. But very nice watch, and if you consider in that time it was maybe $50. Really cheap for a watch. So if you're looking nowadays for an automatic or mechanical movement, gold-plated, Swiss-made. I'm pretty sure you can't find anything for $50. I think the cheapest you can find is maybe 150, 200, and maybe from a brand like Tissot or such. So the last two I want to show. So I think most of those watches I'm showing today are not the most excited, but they are a little part of history, a little part of Invicta's history. So I will show them together because they are from the same time period. So those are produced in the 70s, those two. This one is 37 millimeters, and this one is 38 millimeters. Produced in the same time, the 70s. What can I say more about this? Dressy watches, classic designs, and I think Invicta was in the past a classic dressy brand. They did produce some very neat divers, but they also produced, as you can see, some very neat dressy watches. So this one is an example of that dressy watch. So and this one also with a very nice sunburst. It's a very neat, very nice movement. Very nice watch. So this one is also gold plated. You can see it. Most time when a watch has a stainless steel back, it is gold plated. 99% when you're looking on the vintage market and you're finding a watch that is golden and the case back is steel, stainless steel. 99% it is an gold plated watch. Yes, unless nowadays you can find gold plated watches just fully golden, but they're gold plated. But in the past, so they separate, so you can find, yeah. I think I've shown everything in this box. Which one do you like most? I think most of the people will say the diver, but I'm not sure. Maybe the old trench watch. So they call also this style. Let me see if it will zoom. Oh, it will not zoom right now. So I was out again. So when it's about trench watches, in the around World War I, World War II, watch companies started with producing wristwatches. In the past, the men's watch was a pocket watch, so they put it in the pocket. But when with using rifles, it is not handy to wear a pocket watch. So for the ladies had some wristwatches. So that so for ladies, it was no problem. They had some wrist on the they had a watch on the wrist. So but because of its usefulness, watch companies started to produce wristwatches. So for war. So you can find when it's about World War II, you can find a lot of watches with this kind of style, with fixed locks. It will not zoom right now, but it has fixed locks. So, but which one do you like most? Maybe I think most of you will say the one with that I showed you with the trend watch. But I like most this one, the first one I showed. So I like most this one. I think it has a very nice dial. It also doesn't get enough love because of its size. It's just too small. But I really like it. So if you like this video, give it a thumb up and also subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to put on the notification bell. I want to thank everybody for watching today. Oh, let me see this comment. I prefer the one with the clean dial. Which one is that? The clean dial? So I have a lot of watches with a clean dial. Do you mean the one with the cram dial? Oh, the first one. Oh, the one I picked up also that I love most. So this one. Yes, I like this one also most. Most of the watches I'm showing today are very basic, but they are part of Invicta's history. They were a manufacturer not of high complicated watches. They did produce some highly complicated watches, chronographs, repeaters, triple dates. They even did triple date with moon phase, and even triple date, moon phase, and chronograph. So those are more complicated watches. Most time not in-house, but sometimes modified. But they produced such watches. They did produce such watches. But most time they also produced some basic dressy watches or some basic divers, as I showed you. Affordable, not in-house movement always. Most time just some generic movement insights, but reliable and just for the normal man. And yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with it. You have some fine examples of very nice watchmaking. Yeah. So again, if you like this video, give it a thumb up, and maybe I'm not sure what video I will make next week. I'm thinking about doing a video about buying watches. So, but I'm still thinking about it. Maybe I will do it the week after that. But I think I will do next week a video about when you want to buy a vintage watch. Where do you have to look for, and where do you have to buy it, and maybe some tips and advice. And I will look on the internet together. We will look together on the internet, and maybe we will find something on the internet. And yeah, so next week I will try to do a video about that. So, but for today, I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.